We remember the day the stars answered, the day we learned we were not alone.
My heart is pounding in my chest as I await the announcement of our departure. Even in my wildest dreams would I never have imagined to be granted the honor of being one of the few selected cosmonauts to fly to our new space station, Molly. I didn't think that with the keeping Earth safe from the aliens, they intended us to do that from Earth's orbit. But I guess I'm meeting them in orbit might be an Earth saver. Though I don't know quite how, so I tried to get into the space program for months. Now I'm sitting in my spacesuit in a rocket in Baikonur. Destination Molly. A cute name for such a prestigious project. I've heard that the actual name was something quite different and less recognizable. I've heard many stories as to how that name came to be. I think it had something to do with the dog of a high-ranking member of the organization. Mission control gets busier as the clock counts down. 3 minutes left before takeoff, came the message over the comms. My comrades and I each prepare ourselves for what will happen next. Each of us in their own way. Eidos starts humming a quite happy tune. Maria begins to pray, and I close my eyes and take in a deep breath. I let my mind wander and think of what I will leave for a while. My mother and father, my brother and sisters, my country and Earth, and most of all, Roskana. At first she refused to let me go. It took ages to convince her. I needed to promise her to come back in one piece. Humanity First promised me to keep her safe. If not this, it would have been impossibly hard to go. This only proves that this is the right kind of thing to do, and this isn't for naught. A crackling comes from the comms, and the voice of one of the employees rings out. 10 seconds till takeoff. I seem to have been deeper in thought than I imagined. I hastily put on my helmet. I did not want to let them wait. My final thoughts go to Roskana before they get overshadowed by the magical words.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to episode 7 of Terra Invicta Humanity First. There's all sorts of interesting things going on, such as the European Union, the control of Project Exodus declaring war on none other than Mexico. Mexico? Mexico. Okay, so the European Union, which has, well, they've expanded a bit, but it's not that much. I mean, you got Spain, France, and Germany, and was that Slovakia, I think? They're declaring war on Mexico? To what point? I mean, the initiative here is solidly in power, I understand that. I understand that maybe the Academy is a bit opposed to that idea and would love to do something about that. In my situation, for my preference, it might give me an opportunity. Because Poland is fairly isolated. Yes, it has a bunch of allies, such as the UK. Well, okay, maybe not this. If I want to attack the European Union, it's even worse. But I thought, okay, they're going to draw their armies away. It also means they're going to draw their potential other army away from Finland. So I might be able to conquer that back. As for their troop movement, I think it has yet to begin. So I'm very curious to see where it's going to go. What is their plan? Where are they going to head out? Regime change in Sudan. The forces of the US have imposed a new governing regime in Sudan. Because of course they have. I'm not sure what the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Marine... Oh, sorry, 1st Marine Division, 3rd Infantry, and 2nd Infantry are doing all the way over here in Sudan. I don't know, maybe they're taking lessons from their United Kingdom brothers and taking the terrain as well? I mean, is this all the rage right now? Because these guys have no terrain, they have no armies, they have no defenses? I suppose it's possible. I could try, considering that I have, for example, well, I don't have any beef with Algeria, but I could. I could try and conquer some terrain in Africa, especially resource-rich regions. Let's see, these... Have I told you about the Mauritania space program? I don't think I have, because this is a first for me too. Mauritania is launching, well, 0.4 per year. It's not a whole lot, but it helps. Anybody else have a space program? Yes, actually. Brazzaville in Lower Guinea. Oh, really? Oh, that's allied to the EU. Yes, maybe not go for that. Congo has such a high insurrection score that it changes regime every Tuesday, essentially. I've tried putting councillors to take control here. They were successful and promptly had an insurrection and removed me from power. So, yeah, taking Congo, quite difficult. Also, it is on the way to a space program because I told it to do so. But right now it is very much looking into building a military. Other territories I'm looking for are Kenya, just because I can piss off the servants. So far I've been eliminating a few more of the servants' councillors, and they just recruit them just as quickly. So I'm trying to eliminate them, trying to knock them down, but it's kind of like playing whack-a-mole. Although the moles get increasingly expensive, because it's 60 influence per councillor that they want to hire. Unless they go for a cheaper one, in which case they only pay 30. Anyway, let's spice things up a bit, shall we? Anybody have relations or alliances with Sudan? Kenya. Kenya has nothing. Nobody's an ally, nobody's a rival. I mean, I could just take it over if I want to. But I kind of want to see how the whole war mechanic goes. So I'm going to set the servants Kenya as my, what do you call that, rival? Where is Kenya? North Korea, no. Here, Kenya. We're going to set that as a rival. Yes. And that means I can now declare war on it. My armies are mostly recovered. I'm willing to send in 2. And then I might be able to take control over Kenya and thus deprive the servants of yet another territory. Let me move some pieces into position and see if I can get this done. As I'm preparing for the war against Kenya, I have completed the first Mars base. Upon a red plain and under a hazy sky, the base commander descended from the landing craft. As we take our first steps on our new world, Armstrong and Gagarin and all the rest of us are walking with us. It's a nice boost to science, 500 points and 200 points of influence. It's very welcome. Now, I am trying to get a couple of things operational on our base. More importantly, most importantly actually, I need to get power. Let's see, let's get some saltwater batteries. I need to get power. And currently that is a bit of an issue. Because this thing, the mining complex, which is going to be completed on February 5th, that's a long way off. It's currently March 2026. So it's going to be another 9 months. Sorry, 11 months actually. It needs 9 power. I don't have that. So in order to get that, I'm going to send a fission pile over, which generates 10 power. Building this on Earth is costly and takes a while. Building it on or in space takes less stuff because I have quite a bit of fissiles, I have quite a bit of metals. I just don't have anything, or I don't have the complete picture. So we're gonna have to send it over with a little bit of boost, but that's fine. I'm also working on another station, that is Everest Station. I decided to start boosting my research a bit. So Everest Station is going to be doing just that. It doesn't have a whole lot. It has a solar collector, it has a space science lab and another space science lab. And the reason for this is that my space science is not doing that well. It's only a 5% bonus, and I would very much like to improve that to make sure that I can start to field better and better spacecraft, well, eventually. As for the other factions, they have been building their bases on the moon. They have another base over here on Luna again. We got Farragut Station, low Earth orbit, that's mine. Am I the only one on the moon or on Mars, or do we have others? Let's see, Mars? Wow. If you look away for a minute, the AI spawns stations and bases everywhere. And for now, I'm alone-ish. I mean, I have the hab, but Good lord. The Project Exodus here, the Academy, and the Resistance. Everybody is interested in getting a bit of Mars. And I understand why, because it's a lot of resources. I, however, have been spending a lot of boost. And right now I don't really have a lot left. So I'm just going to have to be patient. Time for a bit of policy change on the Eurasian Union, shall we? We're going to declare war on Kenya. For no other reason than I can. I'm not the only one declaring wars. There are wars being declared left, right, and center. You got the United Kingdom, for some reason or another, joining the war against Mexico. I really have no idea what Mexico did to piss everybody off. They don't have an army, but what they do have is a really high launch capacity. So I suppose that is very much what the guys are after. They want to take the launch capacity, because mine, for example, annually is 32.4. This is another 8 per year. It is definitely interesting to try and grab it. Anyway, on to the war in Kenya. I'm going to try and get my forces to go all the way over to Kenya. To Nairobi. It's going to take me a month to get there. So it's not going to be fast. I'm going to take the tanks army, the guards army, and I'm going to keep one of them at home. The 20th are going to stay here. So we're going to move these guys over here. Hello? Deploy army. What? Can you only move one army there? This makes no sense. Why can I not move more armies? I mean, it's kind of useful to have more than one army actually invading a territory. But I guess not. Tanzania's looking nice this time of year, but I'm actually hunting down more areas that these guys have. South Sudan looks isolated, and it is former servant territory. So let's make sure that we piss them off as well. That means that the servants are going to have less and less and less territory. Their most powerful territories, I think, are pretty hard to pinpoint. They got a lot of smaller stuff. It's not particularly worrying. They just don't have a lot that they can really use. So that's perfect. The fewer servants the aliens have, the better. Oh. You see, I'd love to take Saudi Arabia. The issue is, it is being protected, if you will, by the allies of the United States, as well as the EU. That's going to be a bit hard to punch through. The Yemen, Yemen ally, I'm sorry, Yemen, is not that important. Now, it looks like the regime change in Venezuela has been successful, and that means that Project Exodus took the control points from the servants. Interesting. It seems like the EU cannot leave well enough alone. They are too going for Kenya. I'm not sure why. They really don't like the servants. Interestingly, the war in Mexico that the EU started kind of got finished by the Brits. And the Brits are under control of the servants. So Mexico swapped sides and is now very well under control of the servants. The servants are taking over, and they have just taken over a very powerful country. So you can see that even if they don't have a full territory under their control, I mean, they have 2 here, they suddenly, using the army of the Brits, well, the UK at large, fine, they took care of Mexico. That's a hell of a control point to get. I would love to get a or several control points to get a bit more boost. Sadly, I'm already over my control cap. And, well, integrating new territories seems to be difficult. Also, I am on my way to occupy Kenya, but if the EU crashes the party, we're going to be fighting the EU just as much, which is not something I want. The EU has also swapped control from the initiative to Project Exodus in Namibia. You can see that Africa is very heavily fought over. Everybody wants a piece of the pie there. Probably because they have a lot of resources. Now this does mean that the... where are they? The servants, they don't really have that many territories left. Of course they got Mexico, but they're starting to get their ass handed to them in Africa. which means that their overall income might be quite a bit less. That's really good for me. Humanity comes first. These servants should know their place. A bit of fighting later, and the resistance in Kenya suffered. Well, not the resistance strictly as a faction, but the resistance that the servants have been putting up has failed, which means I have taken control over Kenya. I cannot, of course, integrate it into Russia, but it means that they don't have control. That is something I find a lot more important. I'm trying to hunt down as many of these servant spots as possible while I'm practicing my warfare abilities, if you will. The fact that the Kenyan territory is also at war with Europe, or at least was at war with Europe, is a bit concerning. At the same time, I'm not even really sure what to do with it now that I have it. They don't have a spaceflight program yet, so it's not like they're really going to be able to do much. Kenya is not exactly stable. It's very heavily under the influence of a guerrilla war. So I might just leave and treat this as a bit of an experiment in how to do warfare. It was interesting, but when it comes to taking control points, I would much rather take much more control over China. Because a control point here gives you 0.245 launch or boost, science, research, science, funding. You get a lot. It's such a powerful nation that I'm actually considering swapping over the control points that I have here in the EU over to China, because I think it might be more powerful. So let's start leaving Sweden and Norway, because right now, yes, they do generate some boost, 0.11, we get 0.14 here, but if you control China and you really put it to boost, you can get a lot. One control point, however, here cost me 29.77 versus one control point here, which is only 7, and one control point here, which is about 8 and a bit. So for 24, oh, it's tough. I get 0.42 for 24 here, which is a lot more than I would get in China. And this one is still going up. The amount of boost that I'm generating continues to go up as I continue to build out the space program. So as much as I would like to take China, I just need a lot more control cap. And I don't know how to get that. So, yeah, I guess we're kind of stuck. But I'm not the only one who is stuck, because the other factions cannot take China either, as I have turned it completely into a humanity-first bulwark. Nobody else is getting into China. We're now a lot later. It is February 10th, 2027. And we have a positive identification of an alien operative in Buenos Aires of Argentina. We may attempt to target this being with missions before it goes into hiding. Let's have a look. Do I have anybody available? Lewis is assaulting in, well, elsewhere. He's in China. He's my best candidate to take on this mission, so I hope that I can quickly retask him, give him a different order, and go after that alien, because that is going to further our objectives. As for what's been happening, there are a lot of weird things happening. The US has been declaring war on virtually everybody in South America. I'm not sure why, but so be it. I have abandoned Norway. I am thinking of abandoning Sweden because overall China is just proving to be way too strong to let loose. So with more research, with more boost coming up, this is just 2 control points. Or rather, this is the control points that I have. I can get more, and I want to get more. Right, Lewis, let's see. That's not the one that I want. I need to capture this guy, right? Kill. Kill an alien. So he has been detected over there. That means I need to go on an assassination. Xenoform. I got a 2% chance to win? What the fuck? This is my best operative. The highest espionage stat that I have, which is 20. And I get a 2% chance to win? 13% like this? Wow. That alien has a lot of security. That's gonna make it difficult. if I want to engage or investigate the alien activity here, maybe that's the first best step. Learn more about this guy, and then maybe we can eliminate him. Detaining the alien is absolutely not a thing, as you might imagine. As for assaulting the alien life form over here in Srinagar, let's not. I am, however, working over the control points in Taiwan, because I have seen that you can, if you really want to, unify Taiwan and China, which would be rather interesting. And meanwhile, I have united even more of the Eurasian Union, and I have abandoned Angola and Kenya, because I'm not really interested in those. Mongolia, it's okay. It's not really doing that much for me. And even if I keep researching more stuff for it, I kind of doubt it's going to do a whole lot. It is generating boost, but really not that much. And sadly, I cannot control it. I cannot, or rather, I cannot claim it. I cannot integrate it into Eurasia. So the only way that I might be able to do this is just declare war on Mongolia and take it out altogether. Or rather, I mean, absorb it. Maybe that'd be a better way of going about it. So let's start putting some pieces into play. We are eventually going to end up over there in Irkutsk, but that's going to take a while. So let's first go to Yekaterinburg, because you're going to have to, and this is a bit tedious, you need to go from province to province to province, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we're just going to go to Yekaterinburg, and then we're going to head east with all the armies. So all the armies go to Yekaterinburg, with the exception of the first army, which is still over there, but I can airlift them home. That's fine. Now something else interesting that's happening, I finally have Aube base, which is on Mars, operational. This means the fission pile has been completed, it's now generating power, and that power is going directly into the outpost mining complex. This means I'm getting a very healthy monthly amount of water, volatiles, metals were already good, I'm now also getting nobles, and I'm getting fissiles. So my ability to start building in space is suddenly a hell of a lot better, and I can build these things locally, essentially, with the resources that I have. Something that I'm still looking for is the upgrade. I can upgrade this into a settlement, but that needs 13 boost, which I currently do not yet have. And what I'm also working on is the construction module, which accelerates construction and allows founding additional platforms and outposts nearby. So this, actually let's make that the highest priority, because the settlement complex right now, the settlement mining complex, not that important. It's the tier 2 mining complex, I believe, so it's not that critical at the moment. I'm also working on Congo base, which is fairly closely located in Olympus Mons, or maybe I should say on top of Olympus Mons. And over here we're completing another fission pile, which is coming up in 2 months. And a little while later, in 25th of September, so in about half a year, we're going to have another outpost mining complex there. I am definitely not alone on the moon. On Mars. A lot more spots have been claimed. Everybody wants a piece of this. I'm already looking further afield. I have set up a new station. This is Hekla Station. It's coming online in a while. And this station is going to be my orbital shipyard around Mars. I'm also looking into Ceres. Where are you, Ceres? Here. Ceres is very interesting when it comes to your ability to get a lot of water. A lot of water. I mean, Mars has a fairly healthy portion, but Ceres has a lot more. And this is going to come in useful, because it is part of life support. I mean, people need water. It is also a source of deuterium, which is used in nuclear applications. So I definitely want more of that. It is going to take me a lot of time before the survey is complete. That's going to be sometime next year. So you can see that in early game, you're really playing a fairly small scale. Eventually, you're playing a really, well, almost a waiting game. That's kind of what TERRA INVICTA can turn into. It's a bit of a waiting game, because you're waiting for your counselors to complete something. You're waiting for your probes to, to probe something, to investigate a new moon, a new planet, a new asteroid, what have you. And then you're going to wait until you build something on it. And eventually we're going to build spaceships, and we're going to wait until those are complete. And we're going to wait until they complete their maneuver. And we're going to wait until we finally get into range of the enemy. So there's quite a bit of waiting involved, which makes Terra Invicta not that suitable for everyone. A few months later, something interesting is happening on Mars. Alba Base is progressing very, very nicely. I've managed to upgrade the core, the hab core, to a settlement core. This means that this little settlement now has 41 people working in it. It also means I can start to upgrade this particular outpost mining complex the moment that I get the next tier research. It also will allow me to start setting up tier 2 buildings, and as you can see, a lot of them. Now what I want to do most is focus Alba Base on construction of other ships, so that I can start to do more and more control over Mars and her surrounding area. Now I'm considering building either a space dock down here, or in orbit of Mars. Considering that this is going to be a much larger base, I'm going to first do a construction module, which, as you can see, I can now afford to build entirely in space. It's going to take me just 1 volatiles and 1.9 metals and 180 days, because they can build it locally. The only issue is I'll not be able to power it. So we're going to have to deploy yet another fission pile to make sure that this thing will actually do anything. Again, you can build it on Earth. It's going to take 253 days. You're going to build it and then ship it, or you can build it locally. Building in space really is the future. It is going to take a little bit of time to spin up, but once you get it going, it is going to be a snowball. It's going to progress faster and faster and faster. And with that, I'll also be able to establish more settlements on Mars, because I simply don't need that much boost. This construction modules allows for founding of more platforms and outposts. So I'm going to wait for this to complete, which is going to take me half a year. If I decide not to play it like that, and I want to do another couple of sites on Mars, I can do that, but it's going to require me, or require that I bring quite a bit of boost. And actually, I'm not even sure I can do that. Yeah, I don't have enough mission control. Oh, crap. That's going to be a factor now. I have a lot of habs, and some habs are more expensive than others. Because I suspect that Alba Base is now taking up more than 1 hab. Yeah, it's taking up 4 habs. Holy crap. Okay. So mission control is starting to get much, much more valuable as a resource. Much more so than boost, actually. So I need to be able to control more habs. And to do that, I'm going to have to look at my territories, most notably, of course, the Eurasian Union and China, and tell them that building more boost is not a priority, building more mission control is. So let's set this thing manually, and let's make sure that the mission control is going to get upgraded quickly. If I get this to 25, I'm going to get another mission control pip, and that will allow me to set up more bases. Now, I'm still awaiting the completion of Congo Base. I'm still awaiting the completion of Hecla Station, which is that new station in orbit of Mars. And this is where I actually want to set up... come on, Hecla Station. Where I actually want to set up my new space dock. But in order to do so, I can do it here, but I'd rather not. Because I would rather wait a little bit of time. Although, no, actually, it doesn't matter that much. Does not matter that much. That's the problem. My thinking was, I can do it on this base, on Hecla Station, but it might not matter that much. Because I can wait half a year, and I can get a boost to building. But building that construction module on the planet is going to take me 180 days anyway, so I might as well build it right now. That is going to be able to build more ships. Also functions as a supply depot, and it will launch probes. It is going to require energy, so let's build an energy pile there. Sorry, a fission pile. I don't need a supply depot. The rest is all research labs. And these research labs, I'm not sure how much they do when they're in orbit of some other planet, because it says grants 3% bonus to our investment in the knowledge priority if module is an Earth interface orbit, up to a maximum of 30% from all faction habs. Yes, but I'm not in orbit of Earth. So if I do this, I'm not so sure it's going to actually do anything useful for me here. I think building out potentially a construction module It's going to be more useful. Going to accelerate construction of tier 1 habs, but it'll also take 184 days. Whatever. I got resources. I can spend quite a lot, actually. Upgrading this thing is not yet a thing, because I still need to get the next tier module researched for this first. So I only got a platform core. It's not going to be a massive space station just yet. In the meanwhile, I've also been setting up the, well, let's say the players to make sure that I can start conquering my own Mongolia. Which is still weird, but it is a way to make sure it gets connected to Russia one way or another. And let's just do that. So let's send in the troops to conquer Mongolia. I hope that works, actually. It didn't work that well with Finland, so let's hope that this is going to go a little better. We got the 1st Guards army over there, 8th Guard tank is over there. Let's also send them in. Off you go. Okay, so let's see if I can conquer this, and that would be a nice little saving on control points. It's not terribly expensive, it's just 3 points. But again, it's also just practice. How can I conquer terrain? How can I do that? Just when I thought things were going well in Alba Base, there are reports of some smuggling contraband. That's interesting. With more people going to space than ever before in human history, it should come as no surprise that some of them are abusing the opportunity to bring narcotics and other undesirable items with them. This is already causing a loosening of safety and maintenance standards that we frankly cannot afford in the ever-dangerous environment of outer space. I can argue that I don't need to do anything. Up to 3 modules will be destroyed. Accidents happen. Holy shit. Enforce stricter cargo protocols, which is going to give me a 58% chance of success. Grants a public opinion boost to humanity first. National investment points we direct to boost will be reduced by 25%. Okay, it's not terrible because I don't need a lot of boost, I need more hab control. Or I can have the matter looked into quietly. And then I might be able to figure out what that smuggling ring is doing. So let's have a look. Success. A low-key approach suited many among our council who preferred to avoid making a scene and potentially tipping off the smugglers. Several weeks of undercover investigations have paid off, with the reports naming a series of individuals who are incontrovertibly involved with smuggling operations aboard our habs. So we've detected the smuggling ring. I'm not sure what happens now. Do I... Oh, bye-bye. Do I execute them? Do I send them back to Earth? I don't know. It's unknown territory for me. The smuggling ring story continues. I can have all the personnel involved quietly transferred and replaced. That's all the options I have. I'm not sure why. Oh, well, here we go. Allowed if the hab's marine complement is greater than 0. I don't have any. This is allowed if there's some extremist thing. If the hab's bonus to life science is greater than 0, or I'll be taking my cut. Allowed for the initiative only. It is not going to be possible for me as humanity first. So I can have them all quietly transferred and replaced, which removes the smuggling ring with 59%. Or I suffer a massive loss to public opinion around the world, which would be really bad. And I can have up to 2 modules be destroyed. Let's hope that's going to be merciful. Oh no. Oh, the mining complex on Alba Base was destroyed. That is pretty bad news, because I was quite happy with that thing. So now I'm going to have to remove this. And I'm going to have to rebuild it. 60 days. Lovely. This is going to come online in October, so it's not really going to give me any bonuses in time. It will, however, make sure that I currently don't have any resources coming in. In fact, I'll be digging into my stockpiles, which is pretty bad news. So that smuggling ring caused me quite a bit of issues. The other base. Where is the other base? Fitzroy base? No, that's Luna. Where is the other base? Where's Congo base? Here. Congo base is also upgraded now to a tier 2. And this construction is going to come on in 3 months. So we're making nice progress getting more and more stuff on the moon. And because I have 1 facility destroyed, this means that I now have 1 hab point available. When it comes to Luna, I am considering removing these because they just don't give me that much. When you compare this to what I'm getting on Mars, building more on Mars is far more interesting. So I could just scrap this whole base, I could decommission it, get a whole bunch of points back, that is have control points, and just build something more on Mars. But I'm only going to do that once that additional construction thing has come online. If I do that before, it is not necessarily in my best interests. Anyway, that concludes the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I am looking forward to seeing you again on episode 8.